Today we're going to continue with percentages and finding the percentage of a quantity without a calculator, and we will be looking at some more trickier examples today. So last time we discussed when we were doing percentages without a calculator, these are the common percentages that we will be seeing. And just a reminder that you should have these copied down into your book. So if you don't have those copied down, pause here and get that into your jotter. Okay, so the examples that we will be looking at today are percentages that are not specifically on this common percentages table. So for instance, our first example is 5%. So we're being asked to find 5% of 360. What we're going to do is we're going to think about what in that previous table, what common percentages could help us get to 5%. So for instance, this is the table that we have. If we found 10%, we could essentially then half 10% to get 5%. So that's the method that we're going to use. There's many different methods that you could use, but definitely find this is the easiest way of thinking about it, and this is the way that we are going to do it in these examples. So we're first going to find out what 10% is, and we've done this previously. So 10% is the same as a tenth. So we're going to find a tenth of 360. And we know to find 10%, and to find a tenth, we divide by 10 to get 36. So we know that 10% of 360 is 36. But we're not after 10%, we're after 5%. So we're saying 10% is equal to 36. However, 5% is half of 10%. So since we've halved our 10%, we then just need to half our 36 to get 5%. So 5% of 360 equals 18. So the steps we've done there, we've found 10% and then we've just halved it. Okay, let's look at another example. So this time we're going to find 5% of 420. So what we're going to do is we're going to find 10% and then we're going to half it to find our 5%. So first off, find 10% of 420. We know that to find 10% we divide by 10, so 420 divided by 10 gives us 42. Once we've done that, we know that 10% is now equal to 42. To find 5%, we're going to half that. So since we've halved our 10%, we must half our 42 to get 5% equals 21. So this is the step here that we're going to do. So we're going to first find 10%, and once we've got our answer to whatever 10% is, we just need to half it to find our 5%. Okay, so a question for you to try. If you can, pause the video here and please find 5% of 280 using this example and all these steps to help you. Okay, hopefully you've managed to give that one a go. Let's go through the answers. So the step we're taking is we're going to find 10% and then we're going to half it. So 10% of 280, to find 10% we divide by 10. And remember, as I mentioned at the start, these are all non-calculator questions, so you shouldn't be using a calculator for any of these. If you need to jot down some working at the sides, any chimney sums or bus stop methods for division, not necessarily dividing by 10, but use your jotter to help you write down all your working. So 280 divided by 10 is 28. And because we know 10% is 28, we are then going to find our 5%, and we're going to half that to find 5%, so we must half our 28 to find our 5%, so 5% equals 14, so really well done if you got that. Okay, second example. This time we're going to find 15%. We're going to use a very similar method to before. We're going to break down 15% to start with. And let's say if we found 10% and we also found 5% of 120, we could add them both together because 10% add 5% gives you 15%. So that's what we're going to do. So we know how to find 10%. So we're going to find 10% and 5%. We know how to find 10%. we divide by 10, so 120 divided by 10 to give us 12, so that's our 10%. We also know how to find 5% because 5% is half of 10%, so we're going to half our 12 to get 6. And up at the start we said if we get 10% and we also find 5%, if we add them both together, that will give us 15%. So what we need to do is to get our final answer of 15%, we need to take our 10% and our 5% and add them both together to give us 18. So this is all about looking at your percentage and breaking it down into percentages that we know how to calculate. We know how to calculate 10%, we now know how to calculate 5%, so we can build it up to get exactly what we want. And we've added our answers together at the bottom to give us 18. So again, following along with this example, can you please try to find 15% of 480? So pause here. Okay, hopefully you've unpaused and let's go through the answer. So again, 15% is 10% and 5% added together. So we're going to find both 10% and 5%. So first off, finding 10%, we are going to divide by 10. So 480 divided by 10 to give you 48. So we know 10% is now equal to 48. Half of that is 5%. So half of 48 is 24. But we're looking for 15%, so we need to add 10 plus 15% to give us 72. So really well done if you got that. Okay, example 4. This time, again, we're getting slightly trickier each time. We're going to find 35% of 320. So, like example 3, we're going to break down 35% into 1, 2, 3 10%, because 10 add 10 add 10 gives us 30, plus a 5%. In total, we will have 35%. So all we're going to calculate just now is we're going to work out what 10% of 320 is, and then we're going to work out what 5% is. And once we've found those bits of information, we can add however much we need together to give us 35%. So let's start by finding 10%. We know to find 10% we divide by 10. So I've just shortened this little part of the working out just a little bit, just to make it a little bit easier. So 10%, we know that we need to divide by 10. So 320 divided by 10 gives us 32. Okay, we now also know how to find 5%, because 5% is half of 10%. So we're going to take that 32 and half it. So we're going to divide that by 2. So 32 divided by 2 gives us 16. Okay. And we are now we're trying to build up until we get to 35. It would definitely help us out if we found out what 30% was. And 30% is 1, 2, 3 lots of 10%. So because we know that 10% is 32, we're just going to times it by 3, or add it together 3 times. So 3 times 32 gives us 96. And the reason I've highlighted these parts is because if we take our 30% and we add it to our 5%, we will get our 35%. Okay, for our 35%, we just need to take our 30% and add it to our 5%. So 96 add 16 to give us 112. So again, it's all about looking at what percentage we're aiming for, breaking it down into chunks we know how to calculate. So we've got 3 lots of 10 and our 5%, add them all together, we get 35. And we've worked out 10%, 5, we've then done 3 lots of 10% to get 30, and we've added our relevant values together to give us 35% at the bottom. Okay, again, I would like you to have a go yourself, so can you please use example 4 to help you? All these steps will really help you as you follow along with your question. Can you please try to find 35% of 400? So if you pause here and give this one a go. Okay, hopefully you've unpaused and let's go through the answer. So again, breaking it down into manageable chunks, we know how to find 10%, we know how to find 5%, so we're going to go ahead and find 10 and 5%. So 10% we'll divide by 10, so 400 divided by 10 to give you 40. 5% is half of our 10%, so we're going to divide that by 2 to give us 20. Then we're going to find 30%, so we're going to join all these 10% together. So 3 lots of our 10%, so 3 times 40. Make sure you're timesing it by the 10%, not the 5. So 3 times 40 to give you 120. And the last step, to find your 35%, we're going to take our 30% and add it on to our 5% to give you 140. So again, really big well done if you got that correct. It's quite tricky. Okay, on to our last example. So this time, again, getting progressively more challenging, we're going to find 75% of 300. 75%, let's break it down. So, I know it's quite small, hopefully you can see that. 10%, we've got 7 lots of 10% to give us 70%, and then we've got that extra 5% on there. So in total, if we find all these values, add them all together, that will give us 75%. So all we're really needing to calculate here is 10% and 5%. So, sorry, that should not say 70%, that should say 10%. Let's change that. So 10% equals 300 divided by 10 to give you 30. Then 5% is half of your 10%, so 30 divided by 2 to give you 15. And then we are going to calculate 70% by combining 7 lots of 10% all together, just to make that final calculation a little bit easier. So we're going to take 7 lots of our 10%, so 7 times 30 to give us 210. And then our very last step, to find our 75% of 300, which is what we're aiming for, we're going to take our 70% and add on our 5%. So 210 add 15 to give you 225. Okay, so again, another one for you to try, using that example to really help you, and I'll put the next step there just for you to see, breaking the 75% down into all these little chunks. That's what we're aiming for, so can you please pause the video here to find 75% of 500. Okay, hopefully you've managed to give that a go and you've unpaused now. Let's go through the answer. So we're going to find 10% and 5% first and then combine it all together to add up to 75%. So again, that should not say 70%, that should say 10%. Let's change it. 10% equals 500 divided by 10 to give you 50. 5% is half of 10%, so we're going to divide our 50 by 2. We're going to half it to get 25. We're then going to find 70%, which is 7 lots of 10%. So 7 times 50 to give you 350. And our very last step is to bring it all together to find our 70% by adding our, to find our 75% by adding our 70%, adding our 5% together. So you should have 350 add 25 to get 375. So well done if you got your final answer of 375, really well done.